So you want to play a comp that destroys everything in its path, that takes low effort and no skill to play. A comp where you just stay level 6 for as long as you need to. A comp where you have a raid boss that just runs it down. Hey guys, I'm Xteria and this is the Gnar Reroll comp guide. In this video we are going to cover what is the strongest items, strongest late game board, and strongest augments. Before we start, let's talk about the stats of this comp. This comp is played about 1 out of 3 or 4 games. Reasons why it's not played too often, because most people want to play it from a strong spot where they have enough Gnars or enough Kindreds to play it, or if they have a really strong augment to play it. If you do decide to play this comp, it's at least a 5th place or higher, meaning that every time you touch this comp, it's about a 55% top 4 rate, and if you want to win with this comp, it's about a 15% win rate. And then now we move on to the best in slot items for Gnar. His best item is Bloodthirster. Hands down, just always make it, because if you don't, he will just die without it, because it gives him the Omni Vamp and it gives him a shield if he's low enough. And then to give him resistance and extra damage, because he's a frontline unit, he needs some defense and some damage. Double Tines would be the way to go. But if you can't make 2 Tines, then having a Hajj is fine for alternative item, or you can make a QSS, because this item cancels out Lysandra and it cancels out Set, so he doesn't die to that CC. And then if you need to slam an item for him to survive, Edge of Night is fine if you can't make Titans, or if you have to slam an item to do damage, then Stairs Gauge is okay as well. His best Ornn items would be Trinity Force. Just take it and always put on him no matter what. This item gives him almost every stat possible to make him tanky and do enough damage. And then another Ornn artifact that you can choose from is Death Defiance. It's fine on him because it gives him damage reduction and it gives him Omni Vamp. Because you're rolling down for 2 cost units anyways, you might as well have another 2 cost carry with Gnar, and it would be Kindred. She's also a Dryad and she's also an AP unit, meaning that if you have leftover AP items, you could just throw it on her. Her BIS items would be Blue Buff is a very good item on her because it gives her infinite casting, so she can just keep using her damage ability over and over. And then because you need anti-heal on the board, having a Merlicon Kindred helps a lot because it gives her attack speed and AP. And then the more attack speed she has, the more she can cast. So therefore, Gnasher's Tooth is a very good item on her because it gives her AP and attack speed, so she can keep casting infinite. But for whatever reason, if you cannot build a blue buff, you can just build a Spear Soldier. It's a good alternative to blue buff because it's also a meta item and also gives her AP. And then if you can't get a Morellicon for whatever reason, it's because you need anti-heal almost no matter what on every board, red buff would be really good because she hits the whole board. She's kind of AoE-ish and it gives her anti-heal. And then if you have a lot of rods left over, if you can't make a Nashor's Tooth, you could build either Death Cap or Jewel Gauntlet for her to try to one-shot the board. And then her best Ornn artifact hands down would be Zhonya's. Alright, now we're going to move on to the main units of these comp. The main one would be Gnar and Kindred, which is pretty obvious since they're both Dryad and they're both 2 cost units. And another 2 cost unit that you can play with Gnar Dryad reroll would be Ghostly with Aatrox and Shen. Just 3-star them and they'll be like your best friends for tanks. Since Gnar is a Warden, you're going to need another Warden counterpart, and Alawi would be it because she's a Ghostly and a Warden. And then Kindred is also a Reaper, so you need a Reaper counterpart to her, which would be Kayn. So you have 4 Ghostly here and 2 Dryad. And then the full board would be to fill it up with Dryad, which is Rek'Sai, which is a Bruiser with Aatrox, and then Ornn, which is a Behemoth with Shen. So you fit a lot of synergies together with this. And then Azir is a very powerful unit you could just throw in because he summons more clones and he's also a Dryad, so you get the bonus HP and AP. And then if you get a spat, the best one would be Aatrox. If you don't get Aatrox 3-star, then you can throw it in Alawi. Alawi 2-star is better than Aatrox 2-star. If you want to see the most cap version you could play on this board, it would be replacing Aatrox with Silas because he's a Bruiser with Rek'Sai. And then you could trade Alawi for Set, which is a Warden with Gnar. And then you can trade Shen with Udyr because he's a Behemoth. This is like if you're level 9 and you have a lot of gold, and if you 3-star Gnar and Kindred early. This board is so powerful and so strong, the most capped version of Gnar. But most of the time that's not going to happen. Most of the time you'll play this board, which is fine. This can still get you first place, but if you have extra money left over, you can do this board. And now we're finally going to move on to the augments, and I'm going to tell you the strongest ones you can choose, which is Mokshed. Mokshed is a very strong augment for Dryad because it gives you a free Gnar, and it gives you 2 free stacks every turn. Another one would be Dryad Crest, so you can have more Dryads on the board. Just throw it on Aatrox and Alawi to make your board stronger. Another one would be Gargantuan Resolve, so you can get +1 Titan Resolve, and it makes your Titan Resolve even more powerful for Gnar. And then because you're 3-starring more sort of stuff on the board, Heavy Hitters is a very good one because the 3-star units that you make, they'll gain bonus damage. Now I'm going to tell you what is the strongest augments to choose from 1st, 2nd, and 3rd augment. This is important because you cannot get the 1st augment to the 3rd augment, meaning help is on the way, is only a 1st augment take. You cannot get it as a 2nd or 3rd augment. It does not exist. It's only the 1st augment. With that in mind, for the 1st augment, Silver take would be Hope is on the way. This augment gives you more power to the board by either sustain or it gives you extra damage on the board. If you can't get Hope is on the way, Component Buffet is also a very good one because it allows you to BIS your items so you can get perfect items on Kindred and Gnar. If you can't get either of those, Featherweights is another good one because it gives you more attack speed and more movement speed for 1 to 2 cost units, and since most of the units you can be playing is 2 cost units, this helps it a lot. Now we move on to the gold augments. Mokshed is the best augment to take in this comp. If you see it, just pick it up. Even first or second augment, just take it no matter what. This augment has like one of the highest win rates for this comp. And if you can't get Mokshed, Dryad Crest is a very good one because you can have a +1 Dryad. If you can get either of those, Compact Caster is another good one because this allows you to have more sustain on your board since Kindred will be almost infinitely casting and then Gnar will be casting a lot because per cast it gives you a shield. And if you can't get either of those three, you can take 2 Healthy. 2 Healthy is an augment where the more 2 cost units you have on the board, the more HP you have, and you'll be playing 4 2 cost units. Next, we're going to move on to Prismatic. Dryad Crown is a very good one because it gives you a free Titan, so you don't have to build it. It gives you a free Gnar, and it gives you a Dryad Crest. One of the strongest damage augments for Gnar would be Baboom. This augment gives Gnar extra bonus damage for every second cast, so that means his auto attacks will do extra damage, and his next rock throw will do a lot. Accomplice is a very good augment overall for any comp. This item gives you 2 random support items every turn, so it's basically a Thieves' Gloves, but a support item version. Freaky Fridays is a very good one for Gnar as well because it gives him a Trinity Force, which is one of his highest win rate items, and you can throw it on either Kane or Kindred as well because it gives you 2 Trinity Forces. And another okay one would be Tiny But Deadly. It's basically a prismatic version of Featherweights, gives you movement speed and attack speed. Alright, now we're moving on to the second choice of augments you should choose from, and I would say for the silver one, you can choose whatever feels comfortable. If not, if you are like top 4 at the moment, Young, Wild, and Free is a good one. So you can come out of Carousel right away to pick up a 5 cost unit like a Zero right away, or whatever you can finish complete items. If not, Silver Veil is a good one as well. Gives you a 1-time QSS, and it gives you attack speed. And then if not, you could just get Featherweights. Next up is the gold augments. Everything's pretty much the same. The only thing we're adding is Heavy Hitters, because Heavy Hitters does not exist for the first augment. It only exists for second and third augment. And this augment, it allows for Gnar to do extra damage, or whatever level 3 you have, because the more HP you have on that unit, the more damage you do. And then for the prismatic augment, it's the same as the first augment, so just choose whatever you can, or whatever you think is the strongest at the moment. Alright, now we're moving on to the third augment you should choose from, and then we're going to start off with the silver Harmicist. Harmicist is a very good one for Gnar because it gives him extra lifesteal, so it makes him last a little bit longer in combat, and if you can't get that, Silver Veil is a good one. If not, then you can get Partial Ascension because Gnar would last longer than 15 seconds in combat, so after 15 seconds, you get 30% more bonus damage on your board. If you can't get any of those, Unified Resistance is a very good one as well because it gives you armor and magic resist if all the units are in the same line. Now we're moving on to the gold augments, and getting Mokshed does not exist for the third augment. It only exists for the first and second augment, but the rest still exist, like Dryad Crest, Heavy Hitters, Combat Caster. They're all very powerful for Gnar. And then we got Martyr is a good one for Gnar because he'll be the last unit standing because all the rest of the units will die before him, so it gives him extra HP back. And then for the third prismatic augment, whichever one you feel like is the best for you, just choose it. And that's about it for my guide. If you have any questions, you can let me know in the comment section down below. If not, if you want to answer right away, you can check out my Twitch. Until then, I'll see you guys next time. Peace.